Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday, May 25th. Real quick, just wanted to say a big thank you. Got a lot of very nice messages yesterday from some of you wishing happy birthday, so I do appreciate that. Let's take a look back here at the weather that Tim had left up for us. So pretty good weather here today. A little cooler this morning than we've seen, and need the good weather for the week because we've got graduations today, tomorrow. We're talking a lot about those here in the next little bit. Oops. Congratulations to all of our graduating seniors. And again, we will have much more on graduation here in just a second. A couple things I wanted to go over real quick. First of all, if you want to check the YouTube channel out, we would appreciate that right here, WRDW News 12 on YouTube. And then you can click this little watch live, and this will show you what we've got going on right now. And once this little ad finishes up, it'll show you me talking to you. So that is the YouTube channel. We do a lot of streaming on there, including if we're going to a graduation today. Not sure exactly what the plan is, but that would be up there as well. So we brought you the Brianna Greer press conference yesterday, which we'll also get into here in just a minute. That was on our YouTube channel. Even if we're on the newscast and something big is happening, we'll be streaming it up on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to that. It's a great way to get to know what's going on in the area. But okay, let's take a look at some of our top headlines here. The big stories going on around the CSRA, the two-state, and then nationally as well. We start here in the CSRA, of course, and we're talking about graduation. On the Georgia side, we are finishing things up here. It is here, graduation season, and as seniors walk across the stage to get their diplomas, everybody's asking, what's next? Well, our Taylor Martin stopped by Cross Creek High School's graduation ceremony at the James Brown Arena yesterday, and she's got more on that.
Well, these graduates have big goals and, most importantly, plans to achieve them. While a number of today's graduates were headed to trade school and some joining our armed forces, I spoke with two who tell me college is their next step.
It's the walk they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I'm nervous too, but it's the big day. I'm really excited.
So I feel happy, kind of nervous, but still happy.
As they walk across the stage, they're walking into college and then to careers in need.
I want to become a psychiatrist.
For valedictorian Candace Rogers, behavioral health is in her future, and the numbers predict shortages in half of the behavioral health professions by 2035, including adult and child psychiatrists. It's a gap Candace is willing to help fill.
Since I had a whole bunch of deaths in my family the past few years, I want to be able to help people with mental health issues in order to combat that.
But for Markel Pyatt, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics projects growth for his career choice with an employment increase of nearly 10,000 jobs.
I plan to attend KSU for this engineering program, so I'm planning to be an electrical engineer.
For both graduates, it's been a long journey, all leading up to this moment.
It was hard, but I learned I needed to study a lot more in order to be able to take on what I am now, valedictorian.
Really, 12 years, all comes down to this day.
Today, the room at the James Brown Arena was full of proud families with so much energy for these graduates. And graduations for both Richmond and Columbia County continue in tomorrow and Friday. And we want to say congratulations to all of the 2023 graduates.
Absolutely. Big congratulations to all of them and those two as well, and good luck in your future endeavors. Well, 3 years ago, COVID hit, forcing online graduation ceremonies and drive-by and social distance graduations. We all remember those. So this class of high school graduates defied the odds, and they're walking across the stage despite the challenges it brought. They were freshmen when that all happened, so a bunch of freshmen getting sent home to go ahead and learn remotely for their spring semester of that first year. And here they are now as seniors getting to walk the stage themselves. Alyssa Lyons was at Harlem High School's graduation.
No matter where you were, you'll most likely never forget school shutting down, then transitioning to online, only to be brought back into the classroom. Butler and Harlem students will never forget it. These students behind me that are about to walk across the stage will never forget it because they were there and they're all the better for it now.
Honestly, at the end, I think it's all going to come out in tears. I think I'm going to cry. I'm definitely going to cry.
Seniors walk to the stage with a confidence they've spent 4 years building.
I didn't really actually start high school until like maybe my junior year because we got kicked out freshman year, and then we were like kind of in and out of high school my sophomore year.
And like walking is as simple as putting one foot in front of the other, their high school journey has been anything but.
Knowing that we wouldn't have that exact same 4 years as everyone else before us had, it was kind of sad to me. I wanted that full high school experience.
High school is already hard. Try adding COVID to the mix.
I honestly thought that we were gonna have to do what the class of 2020 did, which was drive by and pick up our diplomas. But COVID taught me to be patient with myself and to be patient and to work way harder than I've been working.
They didn't brave the COVID wave alone. They had hundreds of teachers with them every step of the way.
Them having our back, it actually made high school a lot easier to get through, especially my teacher, Ms. Raker. She made high school for me, even though I was online for part of it, she made high school for me way more fun.
Today, they crossed the string on the cap, looking back together. Now, more than 270 students will soon cross the stage behind me to get that coveted piece of paper, a little less expensive than the one that they'll get after college. But hey, COVID aside, I asked them 50 years down the line, what are they going to remember most? They said that region football championship and that state baseball championship just last Friday night.
Absolutely. Big reason to celebrate over there at Harlem, really across the area. And again, congrats to everybody that graduated yesterday, and good luck to everybody going to do so today. We have got quite a few. Well, I forgot to put the words in there, so I'll just tell you. My bad. We've got a few more ceremonies underway in Georgia today. West Side started at 8 o'clock this morning, so they're about 5-6 minutes in right now. That's over at the James Brown Arena. Laney going to have theirs at the JBA today as well. Laney's is at 11, and then Evanstown Center Park. Grovetown has theirs at 9:30. We've also got Hepzibah at 2 o'clock, Josie at 5, A.R. Johnson at 7. Those are all at the JBA. And then Lakeside is at 6:30 at Evanstown Center Park. So if you're heading out to either one of those places around those areas, just beware there's going to be a good bit of traffic out there, starting really right now over at the James Brown Arena. Let's talk about a special senior from Augusta University, because of course high school are not the only ones graduating right now. When she's not holding a sign, she is wearing a sash. Augusta University graduate Alexis Azani is a physician scientist in training. And as Christy Diaz shows us, Alexis is combining cell molecular biology and music.
When she's not holding a sign, she's wearing a sash. Augusta University graduate Alexis Azani is Miss Garden City and a physician scientist in training.
I hope to work as both a physician, hopefully a neurologist, helps with the brain, and work in the clinical settings with laboratory work as well.
She says the pageant and scholarship program paired perfectly with her schooling.
My community service initiative is neurodegenerative disease. I did a lot of Parkinson's disease research, published a few papers.
Less than a week after graduating, Alexis was back in Atlanta advocating for early Alzheimer's treatment drugs.
It's very important for the young voices to come together and speak about these matters.
She also communicates through music.
I've been a piano player for as long as I can remember. I started when I was around 5 years old.
Studies have shown music can improve mood and cognition in people with neurodegenerative diseases. So, along with her major in cell molecular biology, Alexis plans to use her minor in music to help her future patients.
There's a lot of music therapy that I've been looking into that really helps with people expressing themselves, and it helps with brain function.
A future as bright as her smile in a field that needs more young minds.
I'm very much looking forward to that next step in my life.
She says she'll decide soon about where she'll go to school for her medical training, but first she will compete in the Miss Georgia competition next month. So good luck to her, a young woman with a very, very bright future. Okay, that's the graduation stuff for now. Let's get into some more here. One man has been pronounced dead after a shooting in Johnston over the weekend. The Aiken County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened around 7 o'clock Friday night on Belvedere Clearwater Road and Pineview Drive. When deputies got to the scene, they found the victim, Willie Dublin, had been shot in the leg. He died later at the hospital. We did reach out for more information on any suspects in that case. The FBI confirms they're investigating the ongoing cyber issues impacting the city of Augusta. What they call unauthorized access has crippled many of the city's computer-related operations for the second time in a week. Now we're learning more about the full extent of that problem. Craig Allison breaks down what's working and what's not.
Now, while the city of Augusta has not given an update yet from their end of things with this cyber issue, we went department to department to see how it's been affecting different areas. With Augusta Utilities, you can still pay your bills online or even by kiosk. But for others, it's better safe than sorry to make those bill payments in person. For Augusta Utilities, their payment systems are still working in person and online, and they won't shut off your utilities or hold fees against you. They just have no idea if you may have over or underpaid.
Well, the first thing that affected us the most is the inability for us to get into our billing software, which is all the detailed data on everybody's account and how much they owe and where they're at in the billing cycles.
For the tax commissioner's office, car tag renewal and vehicle registration is still up and working online, in person, and by kiosk. But they say you have to come in person to make payments on property, personal, or business taxes.
We were able to redeploy those at all 3 offices and continue to process, but because we don't have as many of those, we can't do it as quickly as we normally would. But we are still able to process. For animal services, their system is almost completely shut down and are running things with manual paperwork. This means that animal control can take your call, but their 24 Pet Connect website is at a standstill.
There are many lost dogs that have come in that are not listed on the website. And because of that, we would recommend that anyone who's currently missing their dog or cat come down to the shelter to do a physical walkthrough and see if their pet is here.
The probate office did have to close at noon due to technical difficulties. This is the office that deals with marriage licenses and gun licenses. And while we are still processing this latest development with the FBI's investigation into these cyber issues, we'll continue to keep you updated as more information comes in. In Augusta, Craig Allison, on your side.
Okay, thanks for that, Craig. Hopefully they can get those issues resolved soon, but for the time being, better safe than sorry. Just head on over there in person to do what you got to do. Well, if you're a Georgia Power customer, be on alert. Georgia Power has been getting reports of potential phone scams by people posing as their employees. The company says scammers have been targeting both homes and businesses by asking for payments either in person, over the phone, and on social media. Georgia Power says they will not demand payment in person or ask for your credit card or debit card numbers over the phone. So those are some telltale signs right there that that is a scam. The accused CrossFit gym owner, Scott Page, will stay behind bars for now. His bond was denied after being charged with child molestation. Our Nick Veland has new details from the court documents.
Bond denied for Scott Page, owner of Bayer CrossFit Gym in Martinez. Page was turned in by his wife on April 27th when a police report says that she caught him in the act with a 15-year-old. Page is accused of having a relationship with a minor dating back to December. Police documents say that he admitted to the relationship to his wife after she found Instagram messages between the two. Court documents show Instagram messages dating back to late December and January. They show Page sending hearts, love poems, and relationship quotes. One says, "Falling in love with someone you had no intentions on falling for is the most beautiful kind of love," and saying, quote, "so true." We spoke on the phone with the Grovetown Police Department, not about this case, but in broader terms when it comes to child molestation allegations.
You know, whether it's your high school football coach or something like that, I would look out for opportunities that a potential groomer might to isolate your child. So whether it's private sessions, you know, in the gym, or it's, well, we need to talk alone, or it could be, you know, it could start off as innocent as practice sessions in a backyard or in somebody's garage, you know.
Sergeant Loomer says it's okay to be overprotective when it comes to who your children are with.
It pays to be suspicious, and I'm not saying everybody has to take a polygraph to walk through your door, but I mean, you know, just because you think you know somebody from work, you know, the local park or church or something, doesn't mean they need to be hanging out with your kids.
In Martinez, Nick Veland on your side.
As for that CrossFit business, it was closed and empty when we went by yesterday. The business next door tells us they're going to be taking over that space. It's been 10 days now since, or 11 days since a mass shooting in Augusta that left 2 people dead, 4 others injured. That night, a shift commander with the Augusta Fire Department ran over one of the bodies on scene. The incident report says that person was dragged more than 50 feet. The reports say the man responsible is the same one who had pronounced him dead right before that. There are still a lot of questions about how that happened. Our Hallie Turner's been combing through the driver's personnel file.
This isn't just something awful to hear about. Thousands of people have seen it. It happened in broad daylight, and a witness was streaming the chaotic scene live on Facebook. At the time, we didn't name the driver because the report said he didn't see the body. The sheriff called it an unfortunate accident. And tonight, after going through his personnel file, there appears to be no red flags.
This is the video that captured the moment it happened. It's also the moment that had us requesting the driver's personnel file. The firefighter behind the wheel said, according to reports, he did not see the body of the shooting victim. The vehicle's hood, he says, blocked his view. Again, we're not naming him, but he is a shift commander who spent 24 years of his life working with the Augusta Fire Department. In 1999, he was hired as a firefighter paramedic. He has 15 certifications ranging from paramedic to tactical emergency combat and casualty care. The case file reveals that officers get a quarterly checkup every 3 months. Each time, he either met or exceeded expectations. Comments on almost all of the checkup forms say he's a great asset to the fire department, good leader, and good co-worker. Documents show the only time he's ever had an accident in an emergency vehicle was back in 2004. Reports show he was newly assigned to this vehicle and thought he had placed it in drive, but it was in reverse. Damages totaled more than $1,400, but he took full responsibility and paid a small fee. Now, we did find a few marks against him, but they appear to be relatively minor and have nothing to do with his driving. For example, in 2019, he did not perform to acceptable work standards, but that had to do with a building inspection. And in 2020, he had an issue with a couple of co-workers and had some conflict resolution training. Again, nothing to do with driving.
And at this time, he has not been charged in the accident.
Okay, thanks for that update there, Hallie. Moving along here, after 36 years of service to Aiken County, Councilmember Willer Hightower is resigning. Hightower says he and his family believe it's time to focus on overcoming some major health issues. In a statement, he says, quote, "I pray the council will continue to focus on constituent service." He goes on to say he still has plans to continue working on Nicholson Village, paving roads in his district, and the boxing gym. His tenure ends May 31st. And yesterday, Augusta University held its State of AU address to provide an update on the campus's success and the direction AU is headed in the year to come. Some of the most notable points included the growth that Augusta University expects for this fall. AU plans to have 16,000 students by 2030, and the university says it is on its way to meet that goal. The new School of Public Health will debut this fall, and the inaugural dean of the new school was named as Dr. Teresa Waters. Looking forward, AU is investing nearly $5 million towards the Robert B. Greenblatt Library for renovations that will support the student body. And a big congratulations to 2 high school students who earlier yesterday were announced as the Bank of America Student Leaders of Augusta. Bank of America Student Leaders connects high-achieving teens with local nonprofit organizations. Eliana Garcia and Makari Stokes will go to work at Golden Harvest Food Bank here pretty soon. Later this summer, they'll go on an all-expenses-paid trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of Congress. So, big congratulations to them. A grieving Georgia family demands justice. Loved ones whose daughter died in police custody now hoping a known civil rights attorney can hold police accountable. The family of Breonna Greer say she was improperly arrested and authorities ultimately caused her death when she was ejected from the back of a patrol car. Abby Casares breaks down the $100 million lawsuit.
Broken, truly broken, because that was my baby. And that was my baby, and I didn't want to see nothing like that happen to her.
Breonna Greer's mother, Mary, holds her daughter's picture in her hands. Her daughter died last July. Greer's parents called 911 because their daughter, who'd been diagnosed with schizophrenia, threatened to hurt herself and her daughters. When officers arrived to her home,
They carried her like an animal, and I stood on the porch and watched them. And when they got to the car, they dropped her.
Body camera video shows the struggle. Officers carrying Brianna, putting her in the backseat of a police car. On the way to jail, Greer, who was handcuffed, somehow fell out of the car.
There is no excuse, no justification why Brianna Greer is dead and why she died in such a horrific manner.
Attorney Ben Crump, representing the family in a lawsuit, is suing the officers and Hancock County Sheriff Tomlin Primus for $100,000 for wrongful death of Brianna Greer. Initially, the Hancock Sheriff's Office says she kicked the door open, but a review by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation determined deputies had not buckled her seatbelt or properly closed the door.
Twin daughters lost their mother because of gross negligence at the hands of the police department.
He says the state needs to do something to help people experiencing a mental health crisis, especially in rural areas of the state where many hospitals and resources aren't available for people with a diagnosed mental health condition. Brianna Greer's family says they want three things: a sit down with the governor, more money for mental health services, and crisis intervention teams for all law enforcement in the state. Now, we did reach out to the Hancock County Sheriff. His secretary said she'd give him our message. We still have not heard back. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casoras.
Okay, thanks for that, Abby. A former Georgia attorney has been sentenced to life in prison for killing his mother. After more than an hour of deliberation, a DeKalb County jury found Richard Merritt guilty of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a knife. Merritt first made headlines back in 2019 after pleading guilty to defrauding several of his clients during his time as an attorney. He was sentenced to 15 years but failed to turn himself in. Authorities say he found a way to cut off his ankle monitor, then stabbed his mother to death and took off in her SUV, which led to a nationwide manhunt that went on for 8 months.
Stop Cop City! Shut it down! Stop Cop City! Shut it down!
For months, hundreds of people in Atlanta have protested the development of a new police training facility. They say it's not needed and it'll turn Atlanta into a, quote, cop city where authorities are weaponized against the people who live there. But on the other side, Atlanta police say this new facility is needed. Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shirebaum is pulling back the curtain, saying he wants you at home to see what they're working with. Tori Cooper takes us there.
When you look up and down these hallways, these were the areas that we were training our 3-year veteran, our 5-year veteran.
Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shirebaum walking Atlanta News First through the doorways of the Herbert T. Jenkins Atlanta Police Academy.
I used to be the academy director here, and I would arrive early in the morning with some of our staff because we had to go through the hallways to make sure that all the dead cockroaches had been removed, that the traps that we had set out for rats and for mice were cleared out.
To show you what it's been like trying to train officers for the last decades.
Our showers, which we got to the point could not be used. Sewage was backing up into those showers.
In August of 2021, the chief says the building was deemed unsafe, had no clean drinking water or an operable gym.
We actually got to the point where certain training partners declined to come and offer the specialized training here that we needed to be an effective and trusted police department.
The chief says eventually officers had to move out.
You see here the lack of investment in public safety.
It's why he says it's time for the community to invest in the new public safety training site.
And to spend $90 million to train your fire and your police department properly is actually the right and the wise investment.
Atlanta police plan to move into this new training facility by the end of next year. Former President Jimmy Carter's grandson spoke at an event earlier this week honoring his grandfather. It comes 3 months after the former president announced he would be receiving in-home hospice care instead of further medical treatment. Carter's grandson Jason says the president and first lady are resting comfortably at home.
You know, they're down in Plains, they're together, and they've been together for 70 plus years. They're coming to the end. He's going to be 99 in October, but right now it's sort of the perfect way for them to spend these last days, is together at home in Plains.
The former president has had bouts with cancer and other health challenges in recent years. A ban on most abortions in South Carolina before the time many women know they're even pregnant is likely to be enacted soon. Some South Carolinians say this bill will save lives, while others contend it will put more lives at risk. Our State House reporter Mary Green has more from Columbia.
After the state Senate gave final approval to the 6-week ban bill Tuesday night, it now awaits the signature of Governor McMaster, who has said he'll sign it into law as soon as possible.
I think we've got the opportunity now with the governor's signature on the fetal heartbeat bill to make a difference in the lives of many, many thousands of preborn children in South Carolina.
The bill bans most abortions in South Carolina after fetal cardiac activity is detected, typically around 6 weeks into a pregnancy. That's why supporters often refer to this as a heartbeat bill, and it's the same restriction that's currently in place in Georgia. South Carolina's bill allows limited exceptions to save the mother's life for sexual assault victims and when the fetus has a fatal anomaly that would prevent it from surviving outside the womb.
The exceptions are already extremely problematic and really don't help anybody if they have survived a rape and incest and have to have that reported to local law enforcement. That is not a safe or reasonable position for survivors to be in, and it's going to put them at more risk.
Until the new restrictions go into effect, abortion is illegal in South Carolina before about 20 weeks into a pregnancy. That's one of the least restrictive abortion laws in the Southeast, and data from DHEC shows many more residents of other states are coming here for the procedure now compared to a year ago.
It certainly ramped up the urgency, and you know, a lot of people called South Carolina and the most liberal law in the Southeast the abortion destination state of the Southeast.
But opponents of the bill say South Carolinians will still do what they believe they need to do to get abortion care, which could put them in danger while putting doctors in a bad position too.
This bill is incredibly confusing and hard for doctors to comply with. And unfortunately, what that's going to result in is doctors looking at their lawyers before they provide health care to people.
Planned Parenthood says it'll file a lawsuit against this bill once the governor signs it into law. After that, a court could temporarily block the law or let it remain in effect as the lawsuit works its way through the legal system. This new legislation is similar to the state's former 6-week ban that South Carolina's Supreme Court struck down in January. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
And Republican supporters say they're confident this bill is different enough from the former one for the court to uphold it, but opponents say it's fundamentally the same restriction that's already been deemed unconstitutional. And former South Carolina governor and GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley is giving her take on abortion this week. Haley's been on the campaign trail across the country the last couple months. This video is out of New Hampshire from yesterday. Haley says she would sign a federal abortion ban as president, but only if there's a consensus.
I think if there's 60 votes, which we're not anywhere near that, and if there's something where they've come together on consensus, yes, of course I would sign it, because that's 60 votes out of 100 saying this is what America wants. But we're at 45, so we're not anywhere close.
Also in the running for Republican nomination, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced his campaign yesterday. Former President Trump, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson are also in the race. Convicted murderer Alec Murdaugh is facing some new legal problems now. A federal grand jury has indicted him on 22 federal charges, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering. Murdaugh's attorneys say he's cooperating with the investigation and wants to resolve everything without a trial. Murdaugh is also facing other crimes in state court for what prosecutors say was a wide-ranging scheme to milk his law firm, clients, and the government out of more than $9 million. In a related case, suspended attorney Corey Fleming is expected to plead guilty in federal court today to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Fleming will plead guilty for his role in defrauding the estate of Murdaugh's former housekeeper Gloria Satterfield for more than $4 million. Murdaugh recommended Satterfield's family hire Fleming to represent them and file a claim against Murdaugh's homeowners insurance policies following her death. Fleming allegedly transferred funds from a trust account to his personal bank account and claimed the money was for expenses related to the Satterfield estate claim. After a 4-day search, the FBI says a wanted fugitive is in custody. He was arrested yesterday. 34-year-old Michael Burham was wanted for several crimes, including sexual assault and murder out of New York State, and he's accused of kidnapping 2 people from Pennsylvania and driving them to Charleston. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has jumped in the race for president. He announced his run yesterday on Twitter, but it didn't go as smoothly as he'd hoped. Nicole D'Antonio has that for us.
I am running for president of the United States.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made it official, announcing his bid for the Republican presidential nomination live on Twitter's audio platform called Spaces, alongside the company's owner, Elon Musk. But the unusual method proved problematic as the announcement was delayed by 20 minutes. Twitter's servers crashed and isolated snippets of audio were broadcast.
Servers are straining somewhat.
The reaction was quick and gleeful across the political spectrum. President Biden tweeted, "This link works," linking his campaign donation page.
And the strength to win.
DeSantis will take on former President Trump, who announced another run in November and has kept a steady stream of criticism directed at DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis, did anyone ever hear of DeSantis, the sanctimonious?
In campaign videos and interviews, fellow GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley compares DeSantis to Trump.
The way he speaks, the way his hand gestures are, the fact that he's moved his policies, whether it's Ukraine and Russia to entitlement reform, he's done a total 180. All of it's copying Trump.
DeSantis appeared on Fox after his announcement.
We know the country's on the wrong track. We see it with our eyes. We feel it in our bones.
A CBS News poll shows DeSantis trailing Trump by over 30 points. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the White House.
Other candidates in that race include South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, along with former Governor Nikki Haley, who we heard from there, and then Asa Hutchinson as well. Former Vice President Mike Pence also expected to run. Negotiations continued yesterday on raising the debt ceiling, but there's not a deal in sight and precious time to find one. Natalie Brand has an update from Capitol Hill.
Negotiators met at the White House to try and reach a deal to raise the debt limit with time running out.
You can start counting the days, and I mean, there's no question that we're getting to crunch time.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the two sides are still far apart, but adds he's hopeful.
I think we can make progress today. I'm hoping that we can make progress.
Progress will have to come quickly. To write a bill and pass it through both chambers by the Treasury Secretary's June 1st deadline. The biggest sticking point remains spending, with Republicans demanding cuts and Democrats offering to cap it at current levels.
They put forward an extreme package of devastating cuts that would slash support for education, law enforcement, food assistance. The list goes on and on and on and on.
Progressive Democrats argue the president can sidestep Republicans to avoid default.
The president can take unilateral action to avoid default by acting according to the 14th Amendment and pay these bills.
Both President Biden and Speaker McCarthy acknowledge the need for bipartisan support to get a deal through Congress that will avoid the first ever default on America's debt. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Lawmakers say they're still planning to go home for Memorial Day weekend, but House Speaker McCarthy has told his members they need to be able to get back to the Capitol within 24 hours if need be. President Biden making some remarks 1 year after a gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. 19 students, 2 teachers killed in that massacre. The president pledging to honor their lives with a push for more gun control.
Standing there in Uvalde, Jill and I couldn't help but think that too many schools, too many everyday places have become killing fields in communities all across every part of America. And in each place, we hear the same message. Do something. For God's sake, please do something. Today, guns remain the number one killer of children in America, guns. And over the last year since Uvalde, our country has experienced a staggering 650 mass shootings.
Yesterday, a vigil outside of Robb Elementary School as people gathered to remember the lives lost. Wendy Woolfolk checks in with the Uvalde community to see how they're doing 1 year later.
For Andrea Herrera, surviving the mass shooting in Uvalde is still a daily recurrence.
It just goes in my mind, just like in loops.
She was not only at Robb Elementary that day, but her stepbrother, 10-year-old Jose Flores, was killed in the classroom next door. Andrea is still haunted by the thought of Jose's whereabouts during the shooting.
I always imagine him like how his face is, and he's scared.
Andrea's mother, Cynthia, says her kid's mental health and school performance keeps declining, and the tension in town increasing.
Does it ever make you want to leave?
Yes, for sure.
Why are you still here?
Well, because he's here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And it's harder just to pick up and leave.
Brett Cross, too, is tethered to Uvalde after burying his 10-year-old Uzziah Garcia.
If I stop, I'm useless.
For Cross, leaving Uvalde would also mean giving up on a year-long fight for answers and change.
To do what is right. You want me to stop? I've lost a kid. I ain't got anything else to lose.
Perhaps the most pressing failure, 376 law enforcement officers from more than 20 agencies waiting for 77 minutes before breaching through a classroom door.
There were officers in there that could have ended it, but were told to stand down, and they listened.
To mend the broken trust, the mayor of Uvalde, Don McLaughlin, recently hired an assistant police chief from outside the town. But like the families of the victims, McLaughlin is still waiting for results from the local district attorney's criminal investigation.
In 1 year's time, I've had not one briefing, not one.
Parents this week and last week have been visiting Robb Elementary for the first time since their children were killed in that classroom. It's something that some families asked for and that had been prevented because of the ongoing investigation. Robb Elementary will be demolished at some point, pending a court order. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
So that was a little bit of a different story than we had thought it was going to be, but still the same message there. Okay, tributes continue to pour in for the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. Mick Jagger calling Turner inspiring, warm, funny, and courageous. Angela Bassett, who earned an Oscar nomination playing Turner in the 1993 movie What's Love Got to Do with It, saying, "How do we say farewell to a woman who owned her pain and trauma and used it as a means to help change the world?" Jerika Duncan gives us a look back on the life and legacy of an entertainer who you could say was simply the best.
Before Tina Turner filled sports stadiums and was crowned the Queen of Rock and Roll, on November 26, 1939, she was born Anna Mae Bullock. At 16 years old, she met St. Louis bandleader Ike Turner, whom she later married and trademarked the name the world would forever know her by. The Ike and Tina Turner Revue quickly became one of the most popular acts in R&B music. Turner made history, becoming the first woman and the first black artist to ever appear on the cover of Rolling Stone. But offstage, her home life was rocky. She wrote extensively about Ike's repeated physical abuse in 1986's I, Tina. The autobiography inspired the 1993 film What's Love Got to Do with It, starring Angela Bassett. Tina later divorced Ike, and her career stalled until 1984 when Capitol Records released Private Dancer. It was an international phenomenon, selling more than 10 million copies, winning 3 Grammys, including Record of the Year, and contained her only #1 single. In 2013, she married her longtime love, German record executive Erwin Bach. And in one of her last television interviews, she spoke with Gayle King about finding personal peace in one's final chapter.
I am so serene. Wow. No problems. I had a very hard life that I didn't put blame on anything or anyone. I got through it. Here's to you. And I'm a happy person.
In her final interview just last month, she told the Guardian newspaper that she would like to be remembered as the queen of rock and roll, and as a woman who showed other women that it's okay to strive for greatness on their own terms. Well, a lot of people shop on Amazon. A couple of taps on your phone, a package shows up at your door. But as Eric Flack reports, a woman in Washington, D.C. says she hasn't ordered a thing, but the packages just keep on coming.
Well, that's the game. Everybody asks me how many Amazon boxes today, and they don't mean my shopping.
Like so many of us, Liz Geltman shops on Amazon, but she never imagined a delivery like this one.
On my doorstep, it was 2 rows almost up to the covering the door. You look like these big towering blocks of, children's blocks of Legos all the way up to the covering the door of my house.
14 Amazon boxes sitting outside her Northwest DC home. And here's the thing, Geltman didn't order a single one of them.
Addressed to somebody named Meng Zhang Quan.
She doesn't know a Meng Zhang Quan.
And so we called up and said, these aren't our packages.
But instead of coming to get the boxes, Amazon told her to just keep them. What was inside, you ask? Children's bedding.
It hurts my soul to just throw things out.
At first, she tried giving the kids sheets away.
And then they kept coming, and coming, and coming.
Geltman says it's been happening since last fall. 80 Amazon boxes and counting, all addressed to Meng Zhang Quan, all with children's bedding. And get this, Geltman can't get Amazon to quit sending them. She even tried stopping the delivery drivers right in their tracks.
And they won't take it back on their trucks either. It's like they just leave it, this is yours.
So she's been schlepping back and forth to the Amazon Return Center at the Whole Foods in Tenleytown every time another stack shows up at her door.
Well, it's very frustrating on multiple levels.
Geltman says she called Amazon over and over again, and they didn't help at all. The return labels are from Amazon distribution centers all around the country. And get this part, Geltman says when she asked Amazon to just take her address out of the sender's account, Amazon said no. Why? Well, Geltman says it was to protect the privacy concerns of whoever was sending all these boxes. So we went to our contacts at Amazon. And after multiple calls and emails, the company told WUSA 9 it would reach out to Geltman to apologize. And maybe more important, Amazon agreed to start picking up the mysterious packages from her home while it works with the seller to stop the deliveries altogether. Geltman says she's received 9 more Amazon boxes since our interview.
This has been ridiculous.
She says she's received about $4,000 worth of children's bedding. Just you can resell it, make a little profit just for getting free packages delivered to your house. Okay, Memorial Day weekend signals the start of the summer driving season and more accidents out there on the roads. Teen drivers are at an especially high risk, but a new report identifies vehicles that can help keep young drivers safe. Christine Lazar takes a closer look.
When Pat Georgides' daughter got her license, he had a backup camera and parking sensors installed on her 2006 vehicle.
Being a first-year driver, you never know what's going to happen. Their lack of experience is always an issue.
The CDC says teenagers are 3 times more likely to be involved in a fatal accident compared to older drivers. That's why experts say car safety is key.
So we tried to come up with a list that met a pretty high level of safety, reliability, and we tried to pick vehicles that were reasonably affordable.
David Zuby is with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, which teamed up with Consumer Reports to create a list of recommended vehicles. There are 62 used and new cars ranging in price from $6,600 to almost $40,000. All the vehicles protected drivers during crash tests and are equipped with electronic stability control, which can prevent an accident. The new vehicles on the list also received a good rating because their controls are easy to use.
Cars have gotten so technologically complicated that we don't want ones with difficult controls that may distract a young driver from the task at hand of driving.
Parents searching for a car are finding higher prices, which exploded during the pandemic. But experts say spending extra for a safe vehicle is money well spent. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The U.S. Supreme Court let stand a ruling that says police don't owe an innocent hostage anything after shooting him 9 times. This month's Supreme Court decision not to hear the case ends a Georgia man's 8-year battle to get compensated for his injuries. Our national investigative reporter Brendan Keefe has the exclusive interview with the man who survived both a kidnapping and police bullets.
Oglethorpe County 911, armed with a pistol, and a rifle.
He's in my truck and he's coming out the window now. He said I won't survive if I don't get to the hospital.
He fired a shot, rolled my side mirror out. I thought that was my head, but you know, I got lucky.
That was a warning shot.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't keep driving,
he was gonna shoot me in the head.
Don Davis was behind the wheel with a killer holding him at gunpoint.
The dude that he's in the truck with just called. Said if he didn't do what he said, that he would kill him.
So he has the truck driver hostage?
Yes.
Ryan Arnold had already shot his pregnant girlfriend and at pursuing officers. He was going to escape a police barricade in Davis's logging truck or die trying.
you had two really bad choices. Get shot by the man who had taken you hostage.
That's right.
Or get shot by the police.
That's right.
The hostage and his kidnapper rolled through the police roadblock, hitting police cars in their way.
He's in an 18-wheel log truck. He's running over patrol cars. He's coming out, headed to the pavement. He's running over everything in his sight.
Troopers with the Georgia State Patrol and deputies with Oglethorpe County opened fire. More than 35 bullets riddled the cab.
I said, I got to get out of here. I bailed out and had my hands up in the air, and I still got shot.
The hostage was shot in his shoulder, hip, and leg. Davis's hand was nearly blown off.
You were shot how many times?
9 times.
On that day, part of the man that I married died.
The suspect survived too and later pleaded guilty to murder and kidnapping. Was the hostage shot by accident? Davis argued he was targeted by police because he was driving.
The subject y'all are looking for is in the vehicle with him, advising if he does not go where he tells him to, he will kill him.
Dispatch records show police were told the driver was a hostage, but some officers say they never heard that transmission.
The courts ruled it didn't matter whether the police officers shot the hostage on purpose or not. The 11th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals here in Atlanta tossed Davis's lawsuit last year, ruling the logging truck had to be stopped. And tragically, that meant stopping Davis, too.
Sounds like it's perfectly okay to shoot an innocent hostage like that. That desperately needs to change.
Don Davis now lives with the scars, each one made by a police bullet. Missing body cameras and a damaged dash cam file mean there isn't a single frame of video of the 2015 shooting itself. But the voices of troopers were captured by the dash cam of a state patrol cruiser responding to the scene.
We shot a hostage? Yeah. Did we shoot him? Yeah, we have. Good. We shot them both. Hey, all's well that ends well. Amen. As long as none of us gets hurt, we're making memories. That's right.
Those officers were completely cleared of any wrongdoing in the case, but Oglethorpe County, Georgia did pay out a settlement on behalf of its deputies before the case was thrown out. Officers testified not everyone heard the radio transmission that the hostage was driving, and one deputy says he would not have fired had he have known. Researchers predict there will be about 2.2 million wedding ceremonies this year, and that's a lot of first discussions about money. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa talks to a financial coach about ways new couples can ease into those financial talks.
Many experts will tell you there is no wrong or right way to handle finances as a married couple. You have to do what works for you and your partner. Cherry Dale, a financial coach with the Virginia Credit Union, says making that work usually depends on how you value money. For instance, if you are a saver and you don't like to spend, your partner needs to know that. It might also help you decide whether you are going to merge a bank account.
I will say, if you're somebody that does value freedom and feels like you want to be able to spend, having separate accounts and then maybe having a joint account together to pay the bills that you know you're going to split might be a good way to give you that freedom.
She also says to think about what you want life to look like 30 or 40 years down the road and talk about it so you both can plan for it. A certified financial advisor is also a good way to go. That way, someone looking from the outside in can help you make some money moves together. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
This weekend, millions of families will take to the highways for a Memorial Day holiday with the kids in the back seat on their phones. As our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker shows us, there are other options to keep kids occupied even on the longest car rides.
If you don't like the idea of your kids endlessly scrolling TikTok and Instagram on your vacation trip, here's something you can do. Turn off cellular so they have no internet connection. They can still be entertained. There are plenty of educational apps to choose from. Another great option is a digital coloring book. One of my favorites is April Coloring. It's more like paint by numbers with your finger. Now, the free version gives you a few pictures, but there are some really annoying ads. I mean, really annoying ads, and they're all loud. A subscription for endless coloring and no ads is $9 a month. April Coloring, though, isn't just for young kids. It's a relaxing way for anyone to pass the time. If they're going to be watching movies or shows on a tablet or phone, download what they want to watch ahead of time. You can download movies and shows on Netflix and Amazon Prime. This is especially helpful if you have a base Netflix plan with limited screens and because internet connections can be iffy when traveling down the highway. Download books they pick out ahead of time using the app Libby. This app makes available titles from public libraries that you can check out for 2 weeks for free. They can read books in the Libby app or with the Kindle app. If you need to find a place with free Wi-Fi, open Facebook. Under Settings and Privacy, there's a Find Wi-Fi tab. Now, there used to be a few travel apps to help you find clean restrooms on your route. Now, most of those are gone, but there are some other options now. Starbucks generally keeps its restrooms very clean, and the Starbucks app will show you the nearest location. And the Gas Buddy app will help you find the lowest gas prices around, but also has some information on each station showing their amenities and reviews of their cleanliness. And if you've traveled with kids before in the car, I probably don't need to remind you, don't forget their headphones. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
AAA predicts some 42 million Americans will be traveling over the Memorial Day holiday, and the vast majority of them will be on the roads. Well, we knew this was coming, and it is finally here. Netflix cracking down on password sharing. In a letter to subscribers Tuesday, the streaming service says it only offers 2 alternatives. They can transfer a profile to a new member and pay for that person, or add an extra member for about $8 a month. Netflix says it allowed password sharing in the past to fuel growth, and that led to some 100 million subscribers, or some 100 million households, but now it wants to focus on its revenue instead of growing its subscriber base. Emmanuel County Institute Baseball had a chance at winning some hardware last night in the GHSA State Championship. Dan Booth has the highlights.
Good morning, everyone. With the GHSA State Baseball playoffs coming to a close, one more of our local teams had the chance to win some hardware on the diamond. Over at Georgia Southern in the Class 1A Division II State Championship Series, after losing Game 1, Emmanuel County Institute won Game 2, forcing a state championship deciding Game 3. Sadly, the Bulldogs came up on the wrong side of this box score in Game 3 against Charlton County, 5-0. It was a beautiful night for baseball over at SRP Park, and the Green Jackets were looking to get back in the win column against the Kannapolis Cannonballers. Let's get to the top of the second. There's a baller on second, and Wilbur Sanchez is going to rip this ball down the left field line. Sanchez is going to earn himself a stand-up double on this play, and Kannapolis gets on the board, taking a 1-0 lead. In the next half inning, the Green Jackets bats got buzzing. EJ Exposito made this ball a PB&J sandwich, gave it a juice box, and kissed this ball goodbye over the right center field wall. That 2-run blast put the Jackets up 2-1, and Augusta did not take their feet off the gas because they went on to win this game 7-1. Let's get...
Okay, sorry folks, had to cut a little short. Can't show MLB highlights on the digital side here, so have to tune into the TV side for that one. Sports have the ability of bringing out a variety of different emotions in us, whether it's the excitement of winning a state championship or the tears of joy brought forth by earning the opportunity to play at the next level. This afternoon, or yesterday afternoon rather, 3 Westside basketball players signed their letters of intent. Jalex Ewing is headed to Columbia to play for Benedict College. His close friend Zion Briggs will travel west on I-20 to Atlanta to play for Stats Preparatory Academy. Taylor Body will be taking her talents on the court to East Georgia College. For Body, signing the dotted line is about more than just continuing her basketball career.
10th grade, he passed away due to COVID, and that really affected me because I wanted him to watch me at this moment, to watch me sign, you know, to go on to the next level. But, you know, God had other plans, and it's all right, though, because everything I do it for him, you know. I do it for the family. Hopefully I'm making him proud.
Certainly making him proud, and best of luck to all three of them at the next level. In Lincoln County, a veteran-owned business is getting a lot of attention for its latest charity venture. Backpaddle Brewing is launching a new calendar, and it's all about the dad bods. Our Will Volk stopped by to ask what it takes to crack the top 12.
Kyle McLeod's inbox is flooded with pictures like this.
Hundreds of shots.
He made a post asking people to send their best dad bod pics. And that's exactly what he got.
I recently read a book authored by the owner of the Savannah Bananas and how they're always doing wacky stuff. And our team put our heads together and said, what about, what if we do a dad bod calendar?
McLeod says Backpaddle Brewing likes trying new and different ideas. And he knows having a calendar full of shirtless dudes definitely would be different.
Usually I think you're thinking calendars, nature photos or swimsuit edition. We're spinning it on its head. We're getting a little bit of nature. We're getting a little bit of a different sort of swimsuit going on.
McLeod says a team of ladies will evaluate the pictures over wine to decide who makes the calendar. They'll have a lot to choose from, as hundreds of men are proudly showing off their bods.
I think it's great that fellow dad bods can get out there and have fun with it and laugh at life.
In Lincolnton, Will Volt on your side.
There you go, the dad bod calendar. You have until Monday, June 5th to enter, so you got a little bit of time left to do that. We've got some information how to send the picture up on our website, WRDW.com, and a portion of each calendar sale will go towards a local nonprofit. So head over to the website for more information on this story and all of our other ones. Also, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is kind of the way we're trying to do things now. So if you want to check out what we're doing, YouTube channel is probably the best way to do that. Okay, we've got the morning mix coming up in about 3.5 minutes now. If you want to pop over to the TV side of things, or if you're watching this on the app, just stay right here. It'll come up here in about 3 minutes. I'll be back at about 10 o'clock, just after the morning mix. We are talking to Aquinas about the latest money that they're going to be putting towards some sports facilities over there. So right after the morning mix, tune back in here, and we will have that for you. Okay, until then, have a good one.